Let's welcome in Great Britain news presenter and ex-member of the European Parliament, Alex Phillips, back with us. Alex, good to have you back on. So the Queen and her cousin, what a cute scene that was, by the way,
I know.
Two, lifelong friends, her first cousin, the Duke of Kent. They just went back inside Buckingham Palace. What happens now?
Well, I assume she probably goes for a royal rest. She deserves it. 96 years old. She's got a lot ahead of her over the next 4 days. And as Ollie was saying, that was a bit of a bonus appearance. We weren't necessarily expecting to see her at that. Trooping of the Colour happens to celebrate the Queen's birthday annually. And it's where she is, of course, the head of our armed forces. And so they come and they salute her and they pay her respects and she inspects them. So it's steeped in history, steeped in heritage and culture. Now, of course, the crowds that have been amassed along the malls will wait to see more processions taking place, the pomp and circumstance of seeing all the different regiments of the armed forces. There is also going to be at 1 o'clock, this is something I'm really looking forward to, a flyover involving 70 different aircraft from across the eras to celebrate her 70 years of service to this country. That will be a spectacular. The Royal Air Force's Red Arrows, which is our aerobatic display team, will be flying over the mall and then going on to fly around the UK, checking into various sites around the country before going to an air show. So people across Britain can enjoy that moment too.
Yeah, there is a PR element to all of this as well, not only for the royal family, but for Great Britain. Talk about that as well. The flyover is a display of military might, and it's a wonderful PR moment the next 4 days, like royal weddings are as well, for the royal family.
Yeah, and it's a PR moment both at home and abroad. We have, of course, been through very challenging years lately with COVID. Now, of course, we've got a cost of living crisis as a result of war going on in Ukraine. And so the nation really does need a pick-me-up. And at times when this country might feel divided, as it did during the referendum campaign for Brexit, it's moments like this that bring people together. But in terms of soft power, what the Queen and the royal family represents is remarkable. When she came to the throne at the age of 25. She was head of 32 nations. That, of course, is now down to 7. But she is still an important figure, the head of state still in Canada, in New Zealand, in Australia, in Jamaica, and head of the Commonwealth of Nations, which is over 50 countries internationally. So there are over 1 billion people tuning in worldwide. As for the aircraft on display today, it's more about pomp and circumstance and ceremony rather than the war parade that someone like Vladimir Putin does to show off military might. But I think there is a sense that it reminds the world of the important part Britain has played in 2 world wars on the continent of Europe, and a situation that, again, we're leading from the front today when it comes to pushing back against Russia by arming Ukraine. Britain definitely being the vanguard when it comes to looking at European nations, backed, of course, by America. And so it is an opportunity for global Britain to celebrate itself and people to be reminded of our heritage and of the important role we play internationally too.
And millions of people have come to London to witness this. Really, this is historic. I mean, you got to go back to Louis XIV in France. He was king there for 72 years. So if the Queen stays on the throne for another 2 years, she will become the longest reigning monarch in world history. Her reign has spanned 13 American presidents and 14 British prime ministers. But I thought this was interesting, Alex. Only 2 prime ministers in history have ever been invited to the balcony where the Queen was just standing with her cousin. Neville Chamberlain, after negotiating the Munich Agreement with Germany, coincidentally in 1938, and Winston Churchill after they won the Second World War. But the Queen wasn't Queen yet. Her father was still king. Talk about what this balcony appearance means and how important it is to be on that balcony with the Queen.
Well, the balcony appearance is the opportunity for the monarch to directly address the nation, to be seen in public there representing the monarchy, essentially. And for a prime minister, there's a very interesting division between the Queen as still head of state in the UK and the role of Parliament. And it's not built on a constitution like America. It's all about protocol. And so we have ceremonies in the opening of Parliament where the door is slammed on the Queen when she tries to access Parliament, and her representative Blackrod knocks on the door, and she doesn't go into the House of Commons, but she does sit in the House of Lords. And this division between Parliament and the Crown is very important. The Queen could theoretically at any point not rubber stamp a law and actually really run the country autocratically, but it's all built on protocol. And so having the two together, the Prime Minister Minister with the monarch on the royal balcony happens at such key moments in history, moments when perhaps the continent is facing something like a war, when it's important to see that the unity of the country is represented there in our leadership.
Alex Phillips, really enjoyed the conversation this morning. Thanks so much for coming on with us again. We appreciate it. Good to see you. Enjoy the festivities. I'm sorry you have to be at work. She's got to be at work. Everybody else is out enjoying the next 4 days. Alex, thank you. Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.